Because something Darren didn't mention, Bobby was the number 2 overall pick in the 2019 draft. And your dad was actually the number 1 pick. Is that right?
Number 3.
Number 3 pick. Okay, so you did beat him there.
Yeah, and
you were drafted 1 spot higher than him.
That was the first thing kind of my mom said whenever I got the call. Everything happened, and then we're kind of everyone's settling down. She's like, "Hey, you beat Dad there."
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Today is one of those days where the young man that we're going to interview today is a kid. He's a kid. I always know him as a kid. I grew up with this kid. Got to know his father extremely well. Got to know his mom extremely well. Just the family as a whole, and he's on the path of superstardom. But I still remember him as my little dude. Like, this was my little dude. He was a phenomenal athlete as a kid, and he's even that much greater now. And I know we always talk about. I'm always talking about this kid as being someone that's going to be great, but his family background is what's made him who he is today. And I watched him from day one just sprout up and just become a mature young man. And the kid I'm talking about is Bobby Witt Jr. And man, it brings, like, I'm emotional, man. I know Dad's here in the background.
Yep. Make sure we don't say anything we're not supposed to say.
Yeah, I know. Making sure I don't say something crazy. But I'm talking 7, 8 years old. I mean, we've been around each other, and there was a period of time we played. My son Jaden played on the same team, and your dad was the coach, and Rusty Greer was the coach as well, and our families were all joined at the hip, man, and it's just a special time it's a special day for me, man. So I'm sitting here with you, and I've watched you grow up all these years, and now here we are, and we're doing an interview with you, and life has changed, life is different, man. So our guest today on the show, on the One Shot podcast, is Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. Thank you for having me. It's just you telling all the stories and everything. It just brings back a lot of good memories, and just now I'm here, and so it's a long journey, but it's just even hearing you say that stuff, it's bringing back.
You know what?
Memories.
One thing I will say is, sometimes you always say the kid went through, he wasn't that good, and then he got better, and then we go through those stories. Those stories we have, like, I remember playing with Johnny and. Or Michael Jordan, he wasn't that good in high school, and then all of a sudden he sprouted and he became Michael Jordan, right? That was never the case. Like, you were always damn good. Like, there wasn't any time where I sat there and watched you as a kid grow up, and I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of adversity, but you were always gifted. Like, God made you a baseball player. He made your father a baseball player, and then he made you a baseball player. How have you? I always felt like the game sort of came easy to you. Has it always come easy to you?
I felt like just as a kid, like you said, God gave me these talents. It just always was something that I wanted to do, and that I knew that I wanted to do was play baseball. And so just with my family and how they go about things, they always wanted to be the best at everything they did, and that's kind of what I set my mindset to at a young age, was I want to be the best baseball player I can be. And I played baseball, basketball, football, but I always knew baseball was where my heart is at. And so I think things, came easy because I was blessed with some talents, but also just the mindset I had going towards what I was trying to do was just try to be the best teammate, be the best player, be coachable, be everything. And then I think buying into all those things at a young age helped me get to where I'm at now, and it made things a lot easier. There's a lot of like mental breakdowns people have, like going through this stage of baseball or whatever it is. And so I think just knowing that I wanted to do this at such a young age, it made me put my mind towards it, and just kind of, that's where I put my hard work. I put my hard work into school and everything else, but baseball, it was there. And I think that just once I had my mindset there, then I just wanted to just keep going and try to take off at that.
Yeah. So what was it about baseball? Because, Darren and I talk about this I mean, hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things you can possibly do in sports, especially when they start throwing curveballs.
Yeah.
that's when most of us drop out, right? That's when most of us are we go put a helmet on because it's too difficult to hit a curveball. What was it about baseball for you that you just gravitated towards?
I just think it was just the game where, like in football, I played receiver in football, and you got the one-on-one moments where it's you and the DB, but you still got to get the ball thrown to you. But in baseball, it's you versus the pitcher. It's you playing shortstop, playing in the field. You never know when the ball is going to come to you, kind of like the other sports. But it's just you're always in the game at all times. Whether you're at the plate, you're in the dugout, you always got to be watching, just looking to see like the pitcher what he's doing. And I think that I just love that about it. And you're playing for your team as well. And sometimes in other sports you could just be like individualized, but really when it came to baseball, it was you versus the pitcher, you versus whatever it was, and then you're playing for the team. And I just, at a young age, I just fell in love with it. And I guess with my dad playing it, it's always like I wanted to be like him when I grow up. And so that's really whenever I truly fell in love with the game, and that's why I'm still playing it here today.
Yeah, so let's go back. You brought your dad's name into this, Bobby Witt Sr. You brought him into this, and I want to go back to your childhood. I watched, I was a part of that early on in your childhood, but and know your family well. But give us a little background about what was the family dynamics like. Mom and dad, of course, were the mainstays, but you have two sisters, three sisters. So give us a little of the dynamic of the family back then.
Yeah, so my mom, I'll start with her. She's the backbone of this family.
Yes, she is.
So
She's kicking everybody's ass. Yeah. Everybody's ass. She's kicking everybody. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, I don't think me or my three older sisters would be kind of who we are today. And so she was always getting us to practices, whether it was their cheer practices, my baseball practices, and then I guess, my dad was still playing. My sisters, they all had to get places too. But when he retired in 2001, he kind of was closer to me, I feel like. But just with them, having my mom as the backbone, and then my dad he was always my coach. He was always my role model. He was always like my best friend kind of growing up and things. And so just having him there for me growing up at playing baseball, it was almost like, I always say this, is like a cheat sheet having. So because he has done what I want to do, play professional baseball, play in the big leagues, play all these years. And so that's how I always kind of piggybacked off them. And then just with our family, just how we work, it's just always bonded and meshed together, and just always loved each other, loved our faith. And I think that's what got me so just motivated to do life. And so having three older sisters, another little cheat sheet as well. They're all having three other moms too, so can't beat that.
Yeah, and this is not like
three older sisters.
Yeah, and great family, but this is a very competitive family as well. Talk about some of the because I know you and your dad used to compete in a lot of instances, and your mom probably did too at the same time. But talk about the competitive nature within your household.
Yeah, it's just whatever anyone really wanted to do. I always wanted to win, and getting beat by a girl is always obviously bad. And my sisters would beat me at everything. And me and Shaylee, she's 6 years older than me. We're the closest at age, and so she's one that I more so fought with and everything. And I remember this one moment whenever I can't remember how old I was, maybe 6 or 7. The first time I ever really beat her at something was we're on the track, and I was in a bike and she was running, and that was the first. It was 100 meters, but I was riding a bike, and I was like, "Oh, I beat you." She's like, "Oh, you're riding a bike," but. That's a moment that's kind of look back at that's how bad I wanted to beat them, and but it's all love when it comes to that though too.
Were your sisters athletes as well? Organized sports, that is.
Yeah, they all did cheer, and so they did that. Then Shaylee, she played soccer, and the other ones they all ran track. Some of them played softball. So yeah, they're always doing something, and so just with. My mom, at one point, I can't remember, when I was young, all my sisters, everyone was, Shaylee had soccer practice, someone had cheer practice, I had baseball practice, so it was just, that kind of shows you how, and we were able to all get it done, and just financially, we were able to get a lot of things done too, with my dad playing baseball and everything, which was a blessing, so we never really had those hardships, and I know I've heard a lot of stories, and just from the past, and just playing game now with guys coming from Dominican and other things, not having everything, I was always kind of gifted with things, and sometimes I like look back at it and maybe think about that pushed me even more because I know kids didn't have anything and I had the thing, so might as well use the resources while I have them and go out there and just try to be the best because I have things that other people don't have, and so
that's such a good mentality because it'd be easy to go the opposite direction. You know, I have everything, so I don't have to work that hard. But you took it the opposite way. You said, no, I have been gifted these things, so I'm going to work hard to honor those gifts. That's awesome. You mentioned your dad, and Darren mentioned your dad playing. You said he retired in 2001?
Yes.
Is that right?
So
how were you? You were 1. Okay, so you didn't grow up in the locker rooms or the clubhouse or whatever like that. Okay. Do you remember anything about, you know, your dad's, I mean, maybe y'all watched some video or something like that? What was that like growing up with,
I've
with
seen
a major league father?
Yeah, just some video and stuff, and now, like, during COVID and stuff, they had, like, old games being played on MLB Network, so a couple of his games were on there, seeing that, and then he'll always, like, if something pops up on Twitter or something, be like, oh, dude, look at this nasty slider. Oh, you'd never be able to hit this. Can't hit this cheese.
I love that.
So it's all fun and games there, and then he has one big league home run, and he always will bring that up too. And how many how many home runs do you have in the show? And none. Takes one to be a home run hitter. So
Oh, I can't
hopefully,
wait.
Hopefully we can change that.
I'm calling you too.
Because something Darren didn't mention, Bobby was the number 2 overall pick in the 2019 draft, and your dad was actually the number 1 pick. Is that right?
Number 3.
Number 3 pick. Okay, so you did beat him there.
Yeah, and
you were drafted 1 spot higher than him.
That was the first thing kind of my mom said whenever I got the call. Everything happened, and then we're kind of everyone's settling down. And she's like, "Hey, you beat Dad there." So that was pretty cool. That moment.
That's funny.
It's a shame that I did not mention that fact that he was the number 2 draft.
You just skated right over the fact that
that's true. That is true. But hey, look, I'm still a little upset with your father though, and I got a little story to tell you. So it was at practice, and I think you guys at the time were maybe 3rd or 4th grade. Maybe 3rd grade. When they start playing? We were about 8 or 9 years old when we were playing with D-Bat, right? With the Mustangs early on.
10, 9,
Yeah, 9, 10 years old, somewhere in there. And I'm at practice, and Rusty's coaching, and Bobby Witt Sr.'s coaching as well, and all the kids are out there.
Talk about a heck of a coaching staff.
Oh,
by the
you're
way.
a hell of a coaching staff, man. And then me.
And then you coach too?
No, I'm helping. I'm helping one day.
What did you do?
Hold on, now let me tell the story. So we're out there, and he's hitting ground balls to everybody, and there weren't enough kids, so the balls would go. There weren't enough coaches, so he hit ground balls, and they go behind you guys. You guys miss something, and I was grabbing the ball, and I was throwing it back to him. And I remember the look he gave me when I threw the ball. He was like, "Oh my God!"
Just embarrassed.
Oh, then he's like,
"Sad for you.
You need to stick to football." And I still remember that day because it scarred me for life, man. I didn't ever want to throw a baseball around anybody.
Really?
Because your dad
That's
scarred me.
That's a pivotal moment in your life, dude.
Yeah, it was a raw moment.
It's hard to throw the baseball.
I'm still scarred by it, man. So I just want to let you know that. But
hilarious.
man, those are, again, going back, man. I want to stick to, the foundation of who you are, because there's so many kids that are listening right now, and parents that are listening. I want to talk about the foundation, or I want to talk about your experiences in select baseball and in club baseball. Let's talk about that, because we hear a lot from parents who are a little torn on, do I want to get my kids into club baseball? Do I want them to play multiple sports? What were your thoughts and your experiences in playing club?
And before you answer, what is select? For somebody who's listening to this, they don't even know what that means. What is club? What is select baseball? What does that even mean?
Yeah, so like select, the club baseball, whatever you want to call it, it's just kind of, that's your travel team. And so that's the team you're kind of playing with throughout the summer or throughout the spring if you're not in high school or whatever, if your middle school doesn't have a team. And so that's kind of the team. It's almost, nowadays it's pick and choose pretty much, but then kind of they would have tryouts back then, and then you made a team do this or that. They still do that, and so that's kind of how that works. But with my experience, like growing up, I always try to do as many sports as I could, and I think that trying to be as athletic as possible helped me, and that's something my dad always kind of told me. And so whenever growing up, I'd play 7-on-7 as early as I could, and so I did that. And then whenever in the fall, sometimes our baseball team, we would have a basketball team. Like our select baseball team would have a basketball team. So we did that kind of at a younger age and did that a little bit during the fall. But we still had fall baseball and stuff. So, But that was, I think, something that benefited me playing football as long as till my freshman year of high school, and just get your mind off baseball for a while, because I've heard so many stories of kids getting into high school and college and they're just burnt out because that's all. Not even them. That's all their parents wanted them to do was just do that. And then if that's their choice, that's their choice. So I think it's more so it got to be the kid's choice in the long run, because you don't want them to be a stud all-star baseball player, but then they're a junior in high school. They're like, I've been playing this since I was 7 year round. I'm burnt out. And so.
Yeah, no, one of my best friends growing up, that's how he was. He started specializing early in life, and by the time we were in high school, he was like, I'm done. And he was a great player growing up. And so I'm glad you said that was your experience was, no, I want to play everything. I want to be as well-rounded of an athlete. Because, again, the tendency is to think, if I want to be great at something, that's all I got to do is do baseball. But what your experience was, no, those other sports actually enhanced. And, again, I want to reiterate, you were the number 2 overall pick. So clearly it worked for you. And so parents out there listening to this thinking that you have to specialize there. Now, I'm sure at a certain point, and correct me if I'm wrong, at a certain point in high school, maybe you only played baseball. Is that right?
Yeah, it was more my, I think after my freshman year, sophomore year was kind of whenever.
Right. But until then, you were doing everything.
And there's like the opportunities with doing things with USA Baseball and then other things throughout like the fall whenever I couldn't play football or whatever. And then in Texas, football, obviously big sport, and it's they have the summer workouts, summer 7-on-7, and then you got the fall the season, and then you got spring ball, and so it's kind of a year-round thing. And then I did track in middle school too. I think that was during the spring, but also it's during the week and during school, just to kind of help you build another. And I think like having the teammates and everything, those are the biggest things, like all types of sports, and building teammates through football, baseball, track, basketball. I think that you can kind of just makes your friend group bigger, but it also makes your just learning about life even more, and just building those relationships with those guys too.
So, through everyone's life, there are adversities, and maybe I didn't experience yours and see yours firsthand, but did you ever go through any adversity, maybe it be in high school, where you struggled and you thought, like you actually second-guessed yourself to think, well, maybe this is not what I want to do?
I honestly, one of the biggest things that I went through in adversity was kind of whenever I quit football. My freshman year, I think my dad was actually a little bit upset with me with doing that, because I've never really quit anything, and I didn't want to be known as a quitter or whatever. And so it was after my freshman year, and I got banged up a little bit here and there, and then I went to my coach's office, and I had tears in my eyes. I've never had to do that. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play, whatever. And then I told my mom, I didn't put football in because you had to put your classes in so early. I didn't put it in for my next year, and I was just kind of distraught, I'm done with football. And I honestly, growing up, I thought I was going to play both, maybe in the NFL, MLB, do that. But then, so just that was something that was kind of wow. And I felt like I was letting people down, because I know my coaches wanted me to play, and they were always asking me throughout high school, hey, you want to come out? You want to come out? And I was just sorry. It's just, I had to make, and then that was a decision I made. It's really set up for baseball. Now that's done, I'm really going to try to get after this baseball thing. And that's what I kind of did after that. But that was something that really was hard for me. And then that as well. And then it was 2000, I think 16 or 17. I was going to be a junior, and then the USA team happened. And so I actually got hurt. I had something going wrong with my wrist, and so I wasn't able to make that team. So I'd have been an underclassman on the 18U national team, and they were going to Canada. And just that was something that kind of set me back, wow, injury. There was an injury little thing, and then I saw them. They went out. They won gold, and so that it kind of motivated me. Oh, next year I want to be on this team. Next year I want to win gold, and that's kind of what happened.
Was it a chip? You put a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I think so. Both with that and then just quitting football. People are saying, oh, you shouldn't have quit or whatever, but then it was a chip saying, watch, I'm going to do this in baseball now. And so that's kind of how I took that, and as well as with the injury, this happened, so now I'm going to build off that, and I'm going to make this happen.
Right.
Darren mentioned it earlier. Was baseball always easier for you? Were you always, and I'm not looking for humility, were you always one of the better players in every league that you played in, every tournament you went to? Was it always pretty easy for you?
I think I was always good, but growing up.
Stop.
No humility here.
Growing up.
We went to, what was it? It was in Florida. Where was it in Florida? Fort Myers? Is it Fort Myers or not Fort Myers? Where's the tournament that
Orlando?
No, it's in like your Jupiter.
Yeah.
We go to Jupiter.
How old are they at this point?
You're a junior at this point.
Okay.
And because my son's playing on another team, and the best of the best are out there, man. This is some good baseball. Like, we played club baseball, select baseball these years, and at the highest level majors. But you go to Jupiter and you're seeing, I can't remember how many scouts. Bobby, how many scouts are there, man?
There's 100.
Hundreds of scouts, and they're in these golf carts, right? And these kids got to perform, man. You guys, they got to. They're 16, 17, 18 years old, and they got to perform. And I remember watching, and I've known this kid for so long, right? And there's never been a time where I sat there and go, "Oh, this moment was too big." It's not too big. It was never too big. And I know you're being humble by this, and maybe it is. Maybe you had some of your own doubts, but for those that were watching you from afar, there was a smoothness, a calmness, and someone who I always looked at you and said, like, these moments aren't too big. Like, matter of fact, I think you kind of cherished the moment when someone was throwing 98 and you had to come up to bat. Like, you drug your bat up to the plate like, yeah, I got this. Like, there was a confidence. And I think I'm not sure if that's from your father or where you got that from, but I've never seen you waver in your confidence at any level.
Yeah, I just think that's just comfort level. Yeah. Whenever I'm playing baseball, that's whenever everything just kind of eases out. I feel like I get more nervous when I was trying to get ready for a test or something in school. Like I don't know what it was, but it was just, it's something about just being on the field, and then everything just kind of calms down. And because it's been the same game I've been playing since I was 5, 6 years old. So all the repetition, all the work that I've put in it, that was the preparation for that. And I think that the biggest moment for me was when I was doing the high school home run derby during the All-Star game, that. And so there's 50,000, however many people, and then millions of people watching. And then I was kind of nervous the night before everything, but then the day of, it just all went away. And I got out there in the box. I kind of gave the stadium a little glance, and everyone was already on their feet already just because they had the crowd going. And then it just felt right. That's the big lights. It just felt normal. So, and then also with going back to this past year, the Futures game, playing in Coors Field in Colorado, big league stadium. There's 20,000 people there, and everyone, I'm just talking to all these guys, these future game all-stars, minor league all-stars, and they're just like, yeah, I'm nervous here. And I just wow, this feels normal. Going up there with the fans and everything. It just I don't know what it is. It's just kind of, I think, instilled in me. I guess it's either from my parents or just, I guess, in the genes or whatever. So,
right.
But
that's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
That's fascinating to be in that moment and think, this is where I'm supposed to be. Because that was always what held me back in baseball. Not that I was ever going to be a major league player, but was just, I lacked confidence when I went in the box. It was always that doubt of I'm going to be able to hit. And what, sounds like for you, it's just, this is what I do. It's no big deal.
All right, I want to take a quick minute to talk about our partner, Choctaw Casino and Resort. We are really, really humbled and grateful to be a partner for them. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you've heard how great the resort is there, how great the casino is, the new expansion. They've doubled in size, 3,000 new slots. They've got unbelievable sports bar. They've got unbelievable restaurants, unbelievable movie theaters, arcades for kids. It is endless, the things that they've not only improved but added. But it's just the experience that they provide is second to none. Choctaw Nation has done an incredible job with the community, with philanthropy, with support. They have just done incredible things. So we are extremely humbled and grateful to partner with Choctaw Casino and Resort. Make sure, I know you know it, it's just a short drive up 75. Go check them out. And now back to the episode.
Yeah, and I think that it comes to with also 7 times out of 10 you're going to fail anyway. So it's just knowing how to get rid of the failure in your brain and be okay with failure. And so I think being able to at a young age, having my dad there and just learning that at such a young age, I feel like it just became repetition for me. And so guys are learning this in AA or something, where I felt I learned that when I was 14 years old in middle school.
Yeah. And that's
special.
That's a learning lesson right there for a parent as well. Like for including myself, I having a football background, not really having played baseball as a kid, but not at a really competitive level. I remember telling my son Jaden, like, he'd strike out. The kid would be, he'd see a kid that's throwing 90, and I'm like, man, that kid's throwing. I understand you're striking out. Now this kid's throwing 70, and he struck you out, and I'm like, how the hell does that happen? Like, failure to me was like, you don't fail. You know what I mean? You just because in football you fail, you just go harder. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't do it. It's almost it's if you can't do it in basketball, then you play tougher defense. If you can't, your shot's not falling, you figure it out and you go hard. In baseball, man, you have to understand that it's a part of the game. And for parents that are listening to this show, man, let those kids just play. Let understand, like you just said it right now, 7 out of 10 times you're going to fail. It's those 3 times that you're a Hall of Famer if you're hitting 300, brother. And I think that goes to the kids and the parents.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about baseball, though, is like, you're right. You do fail 7 out of 10 times. And for most of us in regular life, that's
not good.
That sucks. I don't want to fail 7 out of 10 times.
7 out of 10 cold calls. That
right. Well, actually, in cold calling, that's actually a pretty good ratio. But my point is, like, for you to grasp that at a young age, that's special. And again, I know you've got great family, and that speaks to your parents. Because I'm imagining that's what separates a lot of kids growing up is the ones, the confidence level. There's a lot of talented people, but the ones that can separate can be really confident going in. So when did you start knowing, there was always a dream and a goal of yours to play in the bigs or to get drafted. When did that really click that this is a real possibility for me?
I would say freshman year of high school, and just because that's when right before kind of leading up to that summer going into freshman year of high school, just because that was the first summer really traveling a lot more, doing a lot of things in select ball and going in. And then I committed to the University of Oklahoma my freshman year. And so after doing that, like the next step, college baseball is professional baseball. So then that point, I feel like it was like, oh, I got this scholarship. Now let's do the next thing, which is try to work for the draft, because high school players in baseball, you can get drafted. And so that's what the next thing was. And that's what I had in front of me. I was playing football that year, but then the following year I knew that the draft is what I want to do. And so that's kind of what I had my mindset on, and that's what I was working for.
Did you have someone that came in that outside of your family? Was there someone that inspired you or said something to you that made you think, man, I should get drafted, or I can get drafted? Is someone like a scout or someone in USA Baseball say, man, you're going to get drafted, you're not going to college?
I would say my summer coaches, Brandon Goins and Ryan Nelson, they had some guys get drafted from their older teams, and they always told me, like, you're going to be good, you're going to be good. And then those two guys really, throughout, like I say, 13 to like 16 years old were there, and they were always telling me, like, that's your goal. You're going to be a big leaguer. This is what you're going to do. Just keep doing it. And they kind of pushed me as well as my dad and my mom. He's harder on me than anyone. He's after a bad game, I'm still getting phone calls. Right. So, yeah. So, but
yes,
I think that benefited
Absolutely.
me too. Just growing up with that and just trying to be as hard nosed as possible. Him being from Massachusetts, my dad, and so he grew up with not a lot, and so now he's trying to instill that into me, and I think he did as much as he could, and so I have that going for me, and then just like I said, those coaches really was it. Just them kind of hinting it to me. Never really told me you're gonna do it, but they always told me like kind of like you have the chance. You can. It's in your hands now.
Yeah. So that encouragement from them or those comments from them propelled you forward. That's what I'm hearing. That actually motivated you to work even harder, as opposed to, oh, dude, you're good. You're going to be good one day. Like you're going to draft it for sure. That could be like, oh, I can take the foot off the gas. But for you, no, that was a foot on the accelerator.
Yeah, and also with these things called perfect game rankings, I know that all these publications come out. It's all on paper. I always looked at it. It's all on paper, and it's not real until it actually happens. And so they had me listed as the number 1 rated player when I was freshman in high school. And so I was like, all right, now that that happen. Let's now make that actually happen and be the number one rated player whenever
that didn't bother you, huh?
That is awesome.
It wasn't like the weight of the world that you felt like you had to carry that weight?
Yeah, there was some, I guess, pressure just being in that spot, but I looked at it as like, I want to keep that spot now.
Right.
And so I know these publications, who knows who's writing them, could be doing whatever, but it's just kind of like more motivation. It just kind of added to the fire. Just wanted to be just with, maybe he's already got it. He's going to kind of back it off, but I think it flipped a switch.
Yeah, that's the normal reaction is I'm good. I'm just going to coast through. But that's so amazing that you responded that way. So I guess you did pay attention to rankings. And judging by the 30 minutes I've known you, it doesn't sound like you put a whole lot of stock into it. But you were aware of the rankings and what people were saying about you and things like that?
Yeah, I had the Twitter, the social media and everything. And like our team, whoever on there, posting about it, like, we have these guys on our team and those things. And so, I was aware of it, and then also just seeing guys you're playing against, really being able to kind of compare, is this guy really as good as, like, if you're playing, the number 2 player in the country, let's see how he is. And that kind of just really see what these publicators are talking about.
Do y'all remember the name Joe Mauer? You might be too. Do you know that name? Do you know Joe Mauer? He was a catcher for the Twins back in the early 2000s, middle 2000s. He was a absolute, I don't know if you knew about his high school career at all. So he was a football and baseball player in high school. And he started all 4 years on varsity. And entire 4 years, he struck out one time. Wow. His entire 4-year high school career.
I saw that on something.
And the pitcher kept the ball.
That struck him out. Oh, wow.
And so when I say that, I bring that up, I'm wondering for you, like, how did your teammates treat you? What did your opponents say when they were going against the number 1 player in the class? So did you get anything like that where people like...
high school baseball, I knew they used to say things
I'm sure they were killing you.
Yeah, and the fans would be chirping a little bit. Yeah. Even parents, too. And when they were playing our rivals or whatever, like at the overrated chant and all that stuff. But that stuff also kind of fired me up. It was
love it.
I didn't really look into it, like, look in the stands, listen to it, but like I knew what was going on, and it's almost like that also kind of sparked a little switch to me. And so those things are fun to look back at, and I think that's also motivation, because you look at it like, if they're not chanting your name or saying this and that against you, then I guess you're not anybody.
Darren just said that the other day. He said, if you're getting criticism, that means you're kind of doing something.
Yeah, you're doing something. Yeah. And
baseball is unique because in football, fans yell at us. You can't hear individuals and what. I mean, you can a little bit, I guess, go in the locker room. But baseball, you hear everything. I mean, you're standing on that on-deck circle. You got the fans right by. You hear everything. Can you think of a funny or a clever? What's one of the funniest things a fan ever heckled you with?
There was one this year, and there's always stuff with saying my dad. You'll never be good as your dad. Blah blah blah. This. Sure. And then, but this year we were in Little Rock, Arkansas, playing AA, and these fans were chirping. I think it was like Thirsty Thursday or something. So these fans they're gone up in the stands. But this dude yells, Bobby. He's listening like all my high school stats, listen all that stuff, and then he goes, Bobby Witt Jr., Gatorade Player of the Year, more like Powerade Player of the Year. And I thought that was pretty good.
Did you acknowledge him? Did you give him a wave?
It was like either they were winning by a lot, it was late in the game or something. I kind of just did a little head nod at him. I
love that.
That was a good one.
Some of those baseball fans, man, they get creative. They'll go back on your Facebook. Well, in my time, Facebook page. Now, if you Instagram, I'm sure, and Twitter.
My girlfriend.
For sure.
But I think it's funny.
So let's get into the day you got drafted. Again, we teased it. You're the number 2 overall pick. You knew as a freshman in high school, this is real. This is something I want to do. This is what I want to go through. I'm always fascinated by people when they achieve the goal, whatever it is that they're after, their whole life, whatever it is they're going for. When they achieve that goal, I'm always fascinated by what that feels like. So for you, did it live up to your expectations? Did you play it up more than what it actually felt like? What was that day like when you got that call?
Yeah, so it's started out I woke up, it was a normal morning, and then it's kind of started to set in, just knowing like, the TV was on, MLB Network was playing, like they're showing like the whatever it was, like the clips of in the past, and just watching those kids and just how happy they were just to hear their name called. And I was like, today's the day that I might hopefully hear my name called. And so just with my dad and my other agent, those are my agents that were there just kind of doing all their stuff. And I didn't really know where I was going to go because it was kind of, there was publications and all that stuff coming out. Oh, I could be going 1, 2, 3, 4, who knows? And
Sorry, not to pause you, but what is that like? How much feedback do you get? Because they give grades in football, hey, we think you're a first round pick. Is it the same thing in baseball? They give you an idea?
They have their mock drafts. They have everything. They have the analysts on it and everything. So, but throughout that day, it was still unknown whether I was going to be didn't know what team. And so I literally knew maybe right after the first pick, the player was taken. Adley Rushman was taken 1 by the Orioles. Right after his name was called, I get a call from the scouting director of the Kansas City Royals, and that's the moment whenever it just kind of like hit me. Just my phone was on the table, and just seeing it like light up, vibrate. I was like, wow, this is like in the movies. And so I answered it, and he's like, "You ready to be a Royal?" And I was like, "Yes, let's go." And then hung up, and then that was the first time like I really had like tears of joy in my eyes, and that's for it. Like it hit me there, and so at that moment, that's when I was like, "Wow, I've never had that feeling before."
Who'd you have in the room? Your family, your immediate family? Did you have anyone else in the room?
Yeah, so I had all family, sisters, everyone, and then my whole high school team was there because we were still in the playoffs, and a lot of guys like summer coaches were there, and a bunch of just family friends, and just everyone that was supporting me throughout the journey. I feel like should be there because they're all a part of it, and so got the call, did that, and then just I had a little earpiece in, so I heard my name get called before, and then it happened on the TV, and it was just my family around me just giving me hugs. Cool. I wish I could relive that moment, but it was I can relive it anytime I want to. I feel like it's just instilled in my brain, and just it's incredible.
Yeah,
so, go ahead.
I was just say baseball is unique, and again, I'm just speaking from an outside, but baseball is unique in the fact that the draft, they call it signability, right? Where, a kid may be super talented, but he doesn't go in the first round because they're not sure, maybe he's going to cost too much, or the slot, you're given a certain number for each slot, that's drafted. And so it's an interesting draft because the best player is not necessarily the one that goes top of the draft. So from that perspective, was there any doubt at all? Like, you knew talent-wise you should have been one of the top picks, but was there any doubt at all as far as, well, maybe I will slip or slide just because of, I have all this leverage either go to college or go play pro ball?
Yeah, there was always some things like, oh, maybe I might go here or there, but I really knew that there was always like other options like throughout the draft that I knew that there may be, this could happen or whatever. But I knew that I never really had the thought of, the thought was there of going to college, but I look at it as like, what do you want? If you want to go to college to be a doctor, you go to college to be a doctor, and I want to be a baseball player. So that starts with the minor leagues. And so that's kind of how I put that, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to play baseball, and then financially it worked out perfectly and everything, and so it was just everything fell into place. So I never really looked at the bad in it.
Did you have a round that if I don't get drafted by this round, I am going to go to school? Was there any thought like that, or was it like no matter where I go, I'm going to play? Yeah,
I never, just with the stuff that came out, I just kind of had an idea that I was probably going to get drafted. So I never really thought of anything else.
Did you have to designate that? Did you have to tell coach? I mean, did they ever ask you? The scouts ask you, hey, are you contemplating going to college? So you just let them know.
I would always throw it in there. Like it was a dream of mine to go to play Oklahoma. That's where my parents went. It's where 2 of my sisters went. I just grew up Oklahoma football fan, fan, and so that they knew that. So that's kind of like a little leverage, but they also knew, like, I told them whenever they came in for like your in-home visits and everything, like I want to play baseball. That's my goal in life, and so they knew that. But then they also knew I wouldn't be ashamed of going to play baseball at the University of Oklahoma. Like that's also, these are both my dreams. I got a win-win scenario right here, and so you kind of got to do that with some leverage to have against whenever teams are
it's such an interesting mind game.
It is. Okay, so you get drafted. And you're still in your baseball team's still in the playoffs, right? So how many more games do you have left in the playoffs? Two or three more games left?
We had the state tournament. So
You're playing high school and you're the number 2 overall. Wow. Yeah, go ahead.
Dude, you couldn't tell me nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
My ego would have been all.
Dude, you hit a bomb. I'm just holding up the number 2 as I run around the bases.
But okay, so that happens. You go and you finish out your high school. So how'd you guys end up doing that year?
We won state,
took
and
state,
I think
yep.
that
Wow, that's
that,
cool.
That was actually like getting drafted off also was my goal, but we fell short the last 3 years in my high school, and that's what I always wanted to do is win a state championship, and our high school's never done that. I think they did that once in soccer back in 2000, so that was a goal of mine. I think with having that goal in mind, it helped me push away all the other noise, the draft noise, all that noise, because of I wanted to help the team win.
Right.
And that's what I think is the best thing for kids nowadays. They are always worried about all this publication, all this, that, but the team game isn't in there whenever it comes to the select ball, high school ball. But I think whenever you have that, you also play your best as well, because whenever you're playing for the team, you're playing for yourself, you're playing for this guy, and so that's whenever it makes you your best, because you're playing the game the right way, and that's why I kind of put it, and it helped me kind of shoot off.
Can I bottle up your mentality? I've got a 5-year-old son. I'm gonna give it to him when I get home. That's amazing, man. That you're the number, like you're the guy. I just got drafted. I reached my goal, and yet all I'm thinking about is my teammates and winning the state champ. That is so cool, man. That is such a cool deal.
So you guys win a state championship. When is it that you had to report?
They gave me about like 2 to 3 weeks just at home, just to get my feet back set underneath me, and then I went out to Arizona and played the Arizona League that year.
Okay, so that was what, 3 weeks after you graduate. Okay, let's walk through. So have you already graduated from high school when you guys were in the tournament?
Yes, I think graduation was like end of May. And then draft was June 3rd, and then last game was June.
So baseball playoffs goes
8th.
after the school year's out? Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so that's
a long season.
Okay, so 3 weeks, they give you 3 weeks, and then you went out. So what was that feeling like when you got to Arizona? Are these guys that you've played with before, some guys you played with before, or people are just new?
Yeah, I didn't know any of the guys out there. And the team that we had for the Arizona League, it was – me, like 5 other draft picks that were there, because there's 3 kind of affiliates. There's like an advanced rookie ball, another rookie ball team, and then the one in the home base, Arizona, where spring training, everything is. So they kept me there, and so it was us other 5 guys that got drafted, and then it was all Latins, and so players from wherever. And so that was kind of like my first experience with guys being from Dominican, Venezuela. I had a guy from Panama, Mexico, and so really that was kind of, I thought that was kind of cool, because I did the USA stuff, got to play against guys, but never played with them, and so like first game I'm playing with, it's playing in professional baseball. It's me, I'm playing short. The guy's playing second doesn't really speak a lot of English, and then guy at third is American, he speaks English. First baseman doesn't speak a lot of English. Catcher doesn't speak English, and we go off. We have a mound visit, and it's just that's eye opening to like. Incorporate, like you got to be able to interpret with whatever with all these guys.
What is the word? That is the word.
Interpret with all these guys, and so just being able. But then once you get those guys on your back, once they have your back, it's like they're your family, and so just that's what makes the game of baseball even better. You're playing with dudes from everywhere, like I said, and playing the same game that you've been playing, and now like. You may not be able to speak with them, but you're going to be able to play baseball with them. And then I think that being able to, like, as the season went on and being able to, like, play and they like, realizing, oh, he's maybe pretty good, and just, like, playing with them and then just doing that stuff, you got their back. And then once that happened, you were able to kind of talk with them, or they opened up to you. And then that's whenever things got, like, a lot of fun. And then that's kind of how the first pro season went.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Dominicans in Colleyville, I would imagine.
Isn't that crazy though? Like in the NFL, it's just how different that is. The NFL, you never have those. Now, you don't have to interpret anything. It's just you're speaking pretty much one language, and that's English. You're not dealing with.
And the other thing about football is you get drafted, you're in the league. Yeah. Baseball, you've got bus rides and McDonald's, and like there's a lot of year, depending on your career. But so what is the era? So you said you went out to Arizona. So you got done with your senior season in high school, and then you said you went out to Arizona. What is that first year like? What is that? What are the different levels, I guess, of minor league baseball?
So it starts with like the rookie ball. That's kind of what I was at, and then it goes low A, high A, double A, triple A, and then just rookie ball where I was at the AZL. It's kind of more of like a introductory to
like a transition.
Baseball. Yeah. And so a lot of guys maybe like they're working on something like that are older. They kind of come back down, and a lot of rehabber guys like pitchers will be pitching in that league too. And so you do that, and then it's just kind of they wanted me there because we had our trainer there, and I'd play 2 games at short, have an off day, DH day, off day. And so they kind of had me on a strict schedule because I played almost, I think, 50 games or so during high school season.
Right.
And I think I played another 40 throughout the first season. So
Wow.
but it was, I felt like I'd be more tired, but just, I think it just, that adrenaline just, I'm playing professional baseball
this
now.
is your
just
dream.
kept going.
So that first year, is it possible to advance to single A ball after that, or are you just in rookie ball the entire year? That's just where you are.
Yeah, there's guys that go up. There's guys that have been drafted and have been pitching in the World Series.
That's true.
Brandon
That's a good
Finnegan
point,
with the Royals, he did that. And so it really just depends on, like, the Royals they're kind of in a rebuild, so there's no rush for me in a way. And they kind of told me that, you'll probably just be here your first year and just kind of settle in and do that. And there's times they told me I might go to the advanced rookie ball teams because they're making a playoff push, but then they just kind of like, oh, no, we want you back down here. So it was kind of, I was like, I want to get out of here now, like towards the end. But then it was their ultimate.
You got to be frustrating then at times. I mean, you have some frustration going through that process, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. But I knew like this is a job now. It's a business.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
just trust what they think and just go about it.
What did a day look like that first year? Like, what you wake up, what do you do? I mean, I'm sure you playing most days, but what does a day in the life of a rookie ball player look like?
We had like every 5th day off, like, so we wouldn't do anything that day. But then the days we had games, we would wake up, go to the field around like 11:30. They'd have like a little bus come pick us up, and so do that, get ready, eat your food, eat your lunch there, and then if you had early work, whether it was early work defense, early work base running, or early work hitting, have that. Or if you don't have that, then you get your lift in. They try to get like 2 to 3 lifts in a week. And so we would have that. And then after that, you kind of have like a team stretch, team something around like 2:30-ish. And then do like a team fundamental, whether it was like first and third defenses or pickoff plays, just kind of like having like a spring training within the season.
Right.
And so do that. And then we go into BP, have BP around 4 o'clock, and then go in, eat your pregame meal, whatever it is, shower, and if it's a bus trip, then you go wherever. And it wasn't very far. I think the farthest trip was
Every game was there in the Phoenix area.
Yeah, so the hour was the furthest trip, and so you'd get in there 4:30, leave, get there 5:30, and our games were at 6 every night, or 6:30, whatever it was. But then that's kind of how we did that. And then game ended, get your post-game meal, go back to the hotel.
Do it all over again the next day.
Yeah. Family out? The family come out at all?
Yeah, they came out a couple times. Yeah, so it was cool just to be able to play in front of them.
All right.
How'd you do that first year?
It wasn't
how'd
bad.
it go?
I think that I probably had more expectations for myself just because it was the baseball. I've been always playing it, but just kind of I couldn't really get in a good like rhythm with it. And I say that not as an excuse with not playing every single day. And so I think that I could have maybe if I just kind of sat back and was like, oh, this relax. I think I tried to do a little bit too much because I knew I was only playing a certain amount of games. And so, I think it was good. I learned a lot.
You know, you mentioned earlier you didn't put a whole lot of pressure on yourself being ranked the number 1 player. Was there any pressure now being such a high draft pick? Did that shift at all, or was it the same mentality?
Yeah, I think so. Just more eyes on you, and guys know like how much money you made, how much you're this pick, and so I'd say more so putting pressure on yourself,
Right.
rather than other guys putting pressure on you. Like you want to perform each and every day, but then you got to realize you're not going to perform each and every day. And I think that's whenever I learned that. So as in high school baseball, I kind of had a feeling that maybe I had bad nights, obviously, but some nights like a lot better than I had a lot more good nights and bad nights in high school. And so having like those repetitive games where you have bad games are just kind of like, what am I doing here? And so that was kind of something I had to get through.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but you mentioned it, so I'm gonna bring it up. Let's get awkward. So the money thing, and anybody can look it up what you signed for. But I'm just curious, what's that like at 18 years old to be handed all this money? I asked Darren the same question. again, that's fascinating to me. What's it like at 18 to be handed life-changing money? I want to take a quick break and thank our partners, Sleep Number, and highlight a couple things they're doing. Guys, these Sleep Number beds are unreal. The technology that they've created, the feedback that it gives you on your sleep. I've got the app opened up right here. They tell you things like your heart rate variability, your breathing rate, all these type metrics and feedback to give you so that you can improve your quality of sleep. They're all over the place. You can go and check yourself out, a Sleep Number store, wherever you live. Go to sleepnumber.com as well. They've got great resources on there. We just talked about this not too long ago. They have a whole blog section, all these articles, things that you can improve your health. Sleep Number is definitely changing the game when it comes to betting. So get yourself to Sleep Number, get yourself to sleepnumber.com, and check them out. Now back to the episode.
I think it's awesome. I think it's the best thing for me, I think, was just I never really – because I've seen, like, in the past and just growing up being kind of gifted around my dad and everything and just having a lot of things, I didn't really look at it as, like – I looked at it, life-changing money, but also it was like, this is my life money to live the rest of my life. That's kind of how I pictured it, like
good for you,
for like my family to come or whatever, and just start to invest that. And that's kind of what I did with that. And then just also with giving back to like family, like I'm able to buy us because I've always got cool Christmas presents, cool birthday presents. I was like, oh, now I can get my sister's stuff that they actually want, not like, oh, you get me this and know that I don't have money. Like,
there's no more. Sorry, I couldn't afford it.
Knowing that mom's gonna pay for it or something. Like, oh, you can. So
do you buy dinner? Did you ever buy dinner?
Yeah.
That's the question I have.
That's got to be a good feeling.
I have, and that's always something awesome. Whether I do it a couple times, like when we're in Aruba, like on a family vacation. It's just. I think that's cooler than buying yourself something. Just being able to give back, and like Christmas now, I have nieces and a nephew, and being able to get them gifts and stuff. I think that's cool.
Did you make a big purchase? Was there anything that you went out and kind of splurged on?
Yeah, I think my car, truck I have.
There you go.
And then also I got my dad a car, which was cool. Just kind of
nice.
Giving back.
Good for you, Pops.
You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
He raised this young man.
He's a Brady fan. So sorry.
And then also,
I guess one of the questions I would have, like, there's times you're young at this time and you're playing and you're going through these experiences in Arizona and whatnot. Did you ever look back at it and go, and watch, because a lot of your friends are in college at this time.
Yeah,
you got to be inquisitive of trying to figure out what's going on with that college life. And did you ever miss or think that, man, I'm missing out on something?
Actually, yeah, I looked back at that and just thinking, like, I was never like I'm not a big party guy. And so that's just how it is. And so looking at it like, oh, I'm missing out on these guys are whatever, doing this, doing that. But then I love the football games. That's what I loved about the college and that. And I'm like, I'm still able to can go to football games. I got the off season, whatever's during the football time. And so I look like it's not a big deal. Like, I'm not missing out. I never did this. I'm not going to change who I am. And so it wasn't really a big thing for me, just not going to college. I'm able to still see them and visit them and stuff, which is, it's kind of cool to be able to go see the other places if I go and visit people.
Yeah. So you would be a junior in college if you had gone?
Yeah, junior,
right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So all your buddies are still in school and you still hang out with any of your old high school buddies? What are they all up to now?
Yeah, I hang out. A lot of them still actually do play baseball and kind of looking to play professional baseball. And then some of them with like during the summer showcases and select baseball, they're playing professional baseball too, and those were some of my close buddies as well. And so being able to keep up with those guys, but then it's interesting, like during the off season, right when I get home, I'm like, oh, I'm home, and then it's just
they're not
my parents and my sisters.
Doesn't feel like home anymore.
And Thanksgiving happens, everyone comes home, whatever, and then they're gone. I'm like, all right, and then Christmas. So, but it's good. You get your time with them, and then so it's a lot of fun. So
2019 Arizona Fall League, 2020 pandemic hits. And you're not sure. I mean, there was. Did y'all even have a minor league season?
No, we had.
The pandemic?
So I went out to spring training, and I went out early. Actually, I bought a house out there in Arizona as well.
Okay,
that was another purchase, and so kind of like an investment as well. So I have that. I go out there, and then they're kind of my first spring training, and so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Big leaguers are here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And so I get there, and then 2 weeks in, it just shuts down. We're
Wow.
like, what's going on? So we kind of wait around at my house, and then like 3 days later, like it's done. We don't know.
So no minor league season at all that year?
No, nothing.
Really?
And so that happens.
I forgot about that.
Go home for about however many months. My buddy makes a gym in his garage. We're working out there. And then it comes to like June, and they're starting to talk about the season, the big league season coming up. And so we've been kind of doing like this COVID league with some other big league players that are doing it at a high school field. And we've been kind of trying to keep going because you never know. There might be a season. And then they start talking about, oh, there's a major league season going to happen. And then I get a call saying that I'm invited to the summer camp, which is like spring training, but it's in Kansas City at Kauffman. And so I was able to go there. I think it was 60 players got invited, including the big league team. And so got to be around the big league staff, the players, and just learn a lot from those guys. And then that whole summer I was out in Kansas City at our alternate site. And that's where we had, like, we were facing our own guys, but they were our pitching prospects, all the prospects. So facing like AA, AAA, big league arms every day. And so where I would probably be in low A, high A starting the season.
So it's actually a good thing.
It almost benefited me in a way. And I kind of took that for granted, and facing these guys each and every day, learning. And then that's kind of how that year ended. Almost, I guess you could say it benefited me in a way.
Wow.
Yeah. So what was that like? I mean, seeing the big league arms.
It was the coolest thing was just getting to Kauffman Stadium, just kind of seeing that. And I've been there a couple when I signed and did some other things. And so just being able to play there, like every day we were playing there. We were doing inter squads at the beginning, and then the Astros came and we played them. That was one of the cooler things, just to like play against the guys you see on TV, and then learning like, oh, I can perform with them. And so I think that was just the coolest thing, just being around those guys, kind of picking their brain, and then them coming up to you asking questions. That was another thing, like, wow, this is actually happening. And so it was kind of like one of those moments you just look back and are like, wow, you didn't make it, but you kind of made it in a way.
Yeah. So that was 2020. It wasn't a true season, and then that leads into 2021. Last year, your first true minor league season. Where did you start that year?
Started in spring training. Did that? I actually got invited to big league camp.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah,
which was awesome. And then that was another moment where like I was kind of just like eye opening. Oh, I'm in big league camp. I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can. But then I start doing well, hit a couple homers here and there, and then I'm like, oh, I can perform. And then there's things saying like, oh, he might be able to make the team out of spring training, maybe play second base, do this, do that. And so, and then a point comes in spring training where I get sent down, and that was another moment, sent down to the minor league camp, and that was a moment where it was like, wow, this is my first time ever to get like sent down in baseball, like a moment where I've never had this happen.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, am I not doing enough? What's going on? And so I'm like pushing myself, trying to do more. I'm like, I thought I did enough, like this. And then we have another alternate side. I do that, and I'm still like, man, I got to push myself, do more and more and more. And all those guys they went to AAA first, and I was like, they put me to AA. And so then I was like, dang, again, I didn't make it up there with those guys. And so like the first few weeks, I started in AA. Okay. And the first few weeks, it was just kind of like, man, I need to do more. And then I had a talk with one of our guys in the Royals organization, and I just 4-hour talk after a game, and it just kind of changed me with saying, just be yourself, just be me, keep things simple. That's kind of my mantra, just keep things simple. And just I didn't look what you did in spring training. I look back, oh, I was able to perform. I didn't need to change anything. It's just the business side of the game. It wasn't the right time, as they say.
And that's man.
Yeah, that's the sucky thing about.
And so that conversation kind of sparked. There's another little spark in me, and that just like, be Bobby Witt Jr. Don't be someone else. Just be myself. Keep things simple, and then that's whenever thid started going well. Right after that.
Yeah, I would say they went well. You ended up the minor league player of the year. And I don't remember what did you end up, like 30-something home runs, your first true minor. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. So talk to us about the dark side of minor league baseball, though. I had a cousin that actually played for, I think, a year and a half in the Tigers organization. He said it is a beating getting on the bus every single night. You're at the stadium 8 hours early. You don't know if he was a pitcher, so I don't know if I'm even going to play or not. So what's the dark sides of the minor leagues and all the bus rides and the fast food?
Yeah, I had a kind of nice in a way where our travel wasn't as bad in AA.
Where were you?
Fayetteville, Arkansas,
right?
Or Springdale, Arkansas, exactly. And so our furthest travel was we came down to Frisco, played there, and it was cool to play in front of family and everyone.
Actually, I went to a couple of your games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I came and watched you
awesome
guys.
to
It's
do
a
that.
cool stadium and a cool. Minor league baseball is a cool it's intimate, right? You're close. It's a fun event.
He was
It's
the
a
one
fun
with his
atmosphere.
shirt off.
Yeah, I had Bobby Witt Jr. written all across my chest.
With the nipple rings. Yeah, that was
I was the guy that said the Powerade. That was me.
Yeah, so the travel wasn't too bad. Like we went from Frisco to San Antonio and then San Antonio home. I think that was about 12 hours. And so we got in at like 6 in the morning. But every Monday we had an off day. And so those Sunday day games, the long bus trips went into Monday, and then you weren't playing that night. And I know sometimes you were driving in, doing that, arriving at 8 a.m., getting to the hotel at 9, whatever, taking a 2-hour nap, and then having a game that night. Luckily, I didn't have any of those experiences, and then going to AAA, we flew to a couple places. Bus
big
trips
time.
weren't bad, and so it was kind of nice. But some places there, the food was kind of that you didn't know if you wanted to eat it. But other than that, it was good experiences for me. So I just been kind of got lucky with that.
Where's AAA for you?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. What is Omaha like?
We were in actually Papillion, Nebraska, the exact location. There was a lot of corn and cornfields and
you say off day like it's a good. Like, what do you do on an off day in Omaha, Nebraska?
we go golfing was something that we like to do a lot. We golfed a lot on those Mondays and got some good food. They had good steaks out in Omaha. Good spots, and so we didn't everything. It wasn't. They say minor league baseball it's a grind. You're playing 120 games in these facilities and stuff, but it wasn't. It was great. A good experience.
Did you learn Spanish?
A little bit. I'm getting there.
Getting there?
Yeah, I feel like I can understand it and can like contact with those guys better, and just I know what they're saying. But a lot of those guys they can speak English perfectly, and which is really cool.
Well, at this point, it's probably predominantly Latin Americans on teams, right? I mean, most of the guys are foreign players, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of Latin players and from all over that are playing, and so but all those guys really they like what the Royals do. They have a lady come in and kind of help them teach English, and so they learn that's what they do kind of in the AZL,
right?
Where they start and then they start in the DSL, Dominican Summer League, and then they go to the AZL. And then they learn like the culture of America and all that stuff. And
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool how teams do that.
Yeah,
those guys.
That's got to be a bizarre, because for you it's different, right? You're coming from hometown in Dallas, and you're going to play minor league ball, but for them they're going to a different country.
And
a language
AZL,
they don't really speak. And
they get to the AZL, that's like they're getting to the big leagues pretty much. It's cool to see them like, they got a paraclete. Brand new pair of cleats, batting gloves. They're just pumped up. So it's really it's an eye opener for sure.
Yeah, what sort of perspective has that given you to meet people from different parts of the world? What has that taught you?
It kind of just makes you look back and say like how makes me even more grateful for what I have, because they didn't have a lot, but then you look at it, they're still playing the game that you're playing. You're doing the same thing. You're going out there each and every night. You're playing for them. He's playing for me, and so just knowing like. That's where they came from. Everyone has different backgrounds, but then that's why I look at baseball, and it's just an amazing game. You can't explain it without you got to experience it to really know.
Yeah,
man, you've had a nice ride, man.
Yeah, so
the journey's been unbelievable.
Yeah, so this year, when does spring training start?
It's kind of an unknown right now.
Is it?
There's a major league lockout, but for the major league
that's
stuff,
right. That's right.
With the minor league, like being on the 40-man roster is whenever. So, like, right now, those guys, they can't talk to anyone. But with me, I'm still, like, not on the 40-man roster, so I can still talk to all the coaches and everything. I really haven't gotten a, like, true report date when I'm going to spring training or anything. But I'll head out there some point in February just because I have my place out there and I can work out at the facility and do that. And there's some good golf out in Arizona.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, some
perfect
good golf,
place to be
man.
right now.
You've become a grown man now, haven't you? So what's your mind? I mean, in your mind right now, Bobby, you're right there. You're on the cusp, and the expectation is there. I mean, you're not hiding from anybody. I know your dream is to be in the majors, and people expect you to be in the majors. So, what is in your thoughts? If you could paint this picture this year, what does that look like for you?
It's to make the team out of spring training to start the year, and they've been kind of the Royals. They've been just in the past losing, and I think I hate losing more than I love winning. And so just seeing that, and I feel like I can help benefit the team, and just I'm going to go out there during whenever the time comes and just work my tail off and just try to prove to them that I'm the right fit for that spot. And so that's kind of what I've been doing this whole off season, just trying to prepare myself to get ready for 162 games, because that's how many there are in the big leagues. And so just try to get myself as ready as possible, and hopefully it's not a business decision, and then hopefully do well. And it's not just a business decision. I ultimately have to perform, and so hopefully I go out there, perform, do my job, and try to help the team win as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a good answer, and that your agent's gonna be happy with that answer. But this is a podcast. You need to say, I better be in the major leagues, damn it, or else I'm quitting. I'm done.
I'm the dude. Yeah, but look, man, I again, it's just being around you for so long, man. I'm just so proud of you and where you are right now. But if there's something that you could say there, because there's so many kids that are listening and parents that are listening, what would you say about your work ethic? Because I know you got a ton of talent, and you've always been gifted. I mean, God gave you a gift to play this game. But talk to these kids about how much it takes, how much work it takes to get to where you are right now.
Yeah, I think at a young age that was instilled in me with my dad, and just teaching me, he always told me just to work hard, have fun, stay humble. And that's kind of what I took, and just kind of try to write my own story with it. And so just the work, it's hard. It's not easy.
Is it lonely?
At times, like I said, I know weekends and stuff, and throughout high school, people were doing this, doing that, maybe getting into some trouble. And so I never wanted to do that. And I feel like that took away with some friendships of people, like, oh, this guy, don't even be friends with. He's not going to go hang out with you. And then I think that's another thing, is you got to hang around the right people, and the right people that have the same mindset of you, that want to be great, not only in sports, but maybe in life. Like if you got an entrepreneur in high school or something, he's motivated, and just be around those motivated people. And I think that if you do that, then that will just kind of help you. And if you have problems, you can always go and talk to those people. But just with the work, like throughout high school, I was driving 20-25 minutes before school and just going to this place out in Arlington, and kind of working out there and doing things, and just trying to get my body right, and just knowing that it just doesn't take just genetics just to get there. And so my dad always growing up as well, like at a young age, I was doing forearm exercises because I know that was going to benefit me when I'm 21 years old now, when I'm 10. I didn't think it was. He knew it was. And so just being able to do that, I wish I looked back and kind of took it more seriously. And then I know at times, like, I'll just be on my phone for hours and just scrolling when I know I could be doing other things. And I think that there's some things I regret to do, like that I didn't do, that I feel like I could have done more, but then I'm still in this situation because of the other work that I put into.
Right.
So I think that you got to pick and choose, like be yourself, but also go out of your way and try to be disciplined and do the right things.
That's right.
Yeah, hard work is an interesting and a fascinating concept, because you do think like grind and long hours and overtime, but I would think, this goal of yours, yes, you are working hard, you are putting in hours, but I bet, or you tell me, does it feel difficult, or is it more like, no, I actually enjoy it. Like, I like waking up early and going to Arlington and getting extra work in. I like doing these forearm, like, is it that mentality, or does it feel like a grind to have to do all these extra stuff?
More so, I think it's just like the satisfaction you're getting of knowing that you did it, you did your job, and now you're going to benefit from it. And I think that that's what got me to where I'm at, just knowing that I not only doing this for myself, but I know what my family did in the past, and I want to kind of follow their footsteps and do that. And then there's other guys in the past that you hear stories, like I grew up looking at Dustin Pedroia, Derek Jeter, just trying to be like them, and just hearing what all the hard work they put in. And you see these guys, they put in the hard work, and look where they're at. They're Hall of Famers. And so it's not by design. I think that if you put in the work, things will pay off for sure. And there's always places for you to fit in, where if you need to put in the work, like whether it's like, if you don't think, oh, I'm not good enough to make the team, well, if you work hard, you might be able to get in somewhere else on the team, or do something. Like, just I feel like people say, like, oh, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not this or that, but I feel like there's always a place for you.
That's right.
It's good, man.
Well, man, we don't want to hold you. I know the time we had. How long is it? Goodness Lord.
A little over an hour.
It feels like we did 15 minutes. We got another hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn into a black preacher here, and we're going to go for another 2 hours right now.
Yeah, I'll say this, man. What's most impressive about you is just your mentality, and obviously you're an unbelievably talented player, but I'm just impressed by your dad and your mom and the way they raised you, and the mentality that you have, the work ethic that you have, the spirit that you have. I mean, it just exudes off you, man, and it's super impressive. And, I told you earlier, we have a mutual friend that you used to know when you were in high school, and that's all he said. He said, not only is he the best player out there on the field, but he's the best person out there on the field as well. He's just a great kid. To me, that's the most impressive thing. Yeah, it's cool to watch how good you are at baseball, but I just love the person that you are. Just getting to know you this last hour, and that's awesome.
And he's been a fanboy. Let's be honest now.
I was excited about this.
And he's probably look. He was so excited because I've always followed you from afar, but Ben is a baseball guy, and Ben has been talking about. He's been asking about you. What kind of guy was Bobby when he was a kid? Blah blah blah. He's been asking about you for a long time. He's been watching, so I can tell you, man. My expectations are what they are right now. They really are. My expectations for who you are is even greater. You're a Hall of Famer, man. You're going to be a Hall of Famer. I know that for a fact because I've seen the foundation that you have. Your mom, your mom.
Not your dad, your mom.
Not your dad, your mom. But I've seen that family foundation, man, and I expect greatness out of you, man. So it's been a joy, man, to watch you, brother. It really has, man. And we're not going to stop here, bro. We'll get you back on, and we're going to see you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can't wait to see how the season goes for you. We got 2 Kansas City Royal fans here or whatever. Omaha. What is it? Omaha what?
They're Storm Chasers.
Okay. If you do make that team, Storm Chasers, big fans. So that's awesome, man.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks again for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Bobby.